All right, ladies and gentlemen, as if anything couldn't get much worse than it already is, Joe Biden should consider a nuclear strike, according to a GOP senator over Russia and Ukraine. Of course, this would start a thermonuclear war with some of the largest countries in the world today. This is our story. Please like and share this and get it out to your friends and family because I believe this is a critical message, and it's not me saying it, it's Newsweek. Joe Biden should consider a nuclear strike on Russia over Ukraine, according to GOP senator. I'll include all links in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. Again, share this video. Republican Senator Roger Wicker believes the U.S. should not rule out military intervention, including what he calls a nuclear strike, when it comes to combating Russian aggression against Ukraine. Now, what's really interesting about this is Joe Biden just came out today and said he has no plans to send U.S. troops. But you know what he didn't say? He didn't say anything about a thermonuclear war. So thought I'd point that out. Now, while speaking to Fox News' Neil Cavuto on December 7th, he also said sending troops to Ukraine was another option President Joe Biden should keep on his deck, which he just took off today. He said, quote, "We start making a mistake when we take options off the table." This is Roger Wicker, U.S. Senator of Mississippi. He is Republican, calling for this military thermonuclear war on behalf of Joe Biden and the United States of America. First off, what do you guys think about this? I mean, this is pretty nuts. Like, do you actually agree with this thermonuclear war over Ukraine? Is this enough of an issue that Biden should risk an all-out world event, unlike anything we've seen since World War II? Make sure, again, to like and comment and tell me what you think. And why are they putting out this messaging to the American public right now? Here is an image, again, of the senator who just made these comments. Again, this is being reported by the mainstream media, Fox News, also Newsweek. Here we have China could use its hypersonic weapons in surprise nuclear attack. This was reported by Fox News just a couple days ago. Now, this would also be the perfect smokescreen to blame China for the economic collapse, in my opinion, in the United States and Western countries. There'd be the perfect ruse, perfect excuse, say, look, it's China's fault. And I talked about this 2 videos ago, I believe it was, where they'll blame China for the economic calamity that affects the United States that I would argue the central bank is responsible for and our politicians are responsible for, but would place the blame on them. That would be the reason they don't have to raise interest rates. They can continue the bailouts. They can continue buying debt, blowing out the debt, and continuing these policies as they move us to the new plan. I always say, trust the plan. Of course, we've seen in the background, this is from the BBC, Evergrande and other real estate-like developers in China on the brink of default. So there's all this default risk that would also happen and could also happen very, very soon. Now, also, we had Starlink. Here's a picture of Elon Musk. He's made some comments very interesting within the last 24 hours I want to talk about. Starlink and SpaceX have just launched a new X-ray space telescope. This is what they're saying. For NASA on Thursday. It's going to happen tomorrow. And they've been launching Starlink satellites allegedly, I believe it was within the last 48 hours. I'm going to show you some images of this in a second. Now, here's what's interesting about this, as I've talked about before. Ladies and gentlemen, the new war front, and I've read the declassified documents on this, occurs where? Space. This is why Donald Trump instituted a new branch of the military-industrial complex, the Space Force, the U.S. Space Force, and this is what it has to do with. Space weapons. It has to do with Star Wars. It has to do with electromagnetic pulses. We've seen in the news the ability of rogue countries like North Korea or China or Russia, for example, using shipping containers of which they can blast missiles from the sea that are cloaked and that might catch American defenses off guard. So isn't it interesting that a new SpaceX X-ray, this is what they're saying it's for, is being launched along with other materials that looks like these. Let me show you this. What space weapons actually look like. Move my head down there. You can see here. This is what a space weapon looks like. Looks like a satellite, what they're launching tomorrow and what they already have up in our skies. And this is being reported by the U.S. Air Force. Also, Elon Musk has made some big comments. Bring myself to the bottom of the screen there recently. And I want to play what he says about the U.S. government. And I believe Elon Musk plays 2 sides of the coin. This is typically what he does. So just because he says something doesn't really mean he means it. He's talked about the jabs, for example, and then backtracked on that later. Keep in mind, Elon Musk receives billions and billions of dollars worth of subsidies from U.S. taxpayer and the U.S. government for his companies like Tesla and SpaceX, which works directly with NASA and other government-led agendas. But take a listen to what Elon Musk has to say.
Then, at a certain point, really what you're doing is capital allocation. So you're not, it's not money for personal expenditures. What you're doing is capital allocation. And it does not make sense to take the job of capital allocation away from people who have demonstrated great skill in capital allocation and give it to an entity that has demonstrated very poor skill in capital allocation, which is the government. You can think of the government essentially as a corporation in the limit. The government is simply the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence.
All right, so very interesting. At the same time, these war games are taking place as these satellites are being launched, and GOP senators are calling for thermonuclear war against Vladimir Putin, and that also means China, because, of course, they are allies. Elon Musk is making these comments and also launching these SpaceX satellites into our sky. Let me shrink myself down. You can see this. Look at the stream, which to me, I don't know, are these Starlink satellites or are they something else? Looks really, really fishy, but all of this is being launched right now. Let me go back to that video footage and zoom in, and I'll let you decide for yourself what that is. So the point of this video is not to spread fear. In fact, I pray to God that none of this happens and hope that we're wrong and hope that the GOP senator is wrong. But this is really about getting all the information, understanding what we're dealing with, realizing this could be used as a potential smokescreen for war. And we've seen this before in history where there's deflection, misdirection, all kinds of propaganda that they put out right before the attack on Pearl Harbor, so to speak. So I beg the question, could this be happening again? Now, I personally, my opinion, would not take this off the table. And here's why. It makes perfect sense. All economic collapses precede a war, just like World War II and just like World War I. What preceded World War II was a hyperinflationary Weimar Republic inflationary collapse in Germany, which led to the rise of you-know-who, and then a world war. I would argue that the same thing is happening now worldwide, and we're due, as they've already said, for a reset into the new normal. So all of this, I believe, should be taken into consideration. And also, I want to show you the Economist magazine cover of 2021. This might sound kind of funny, but it's almost always correct. And take a look what was on this cover as I shrink myself down last year. And most of what's on this magazine has already played out, except for what you see here. And let me zoom in. You can see the casino that they're playing with the world and with humanity. Anyways, that's all I have for today, guys. Stay on your toes. I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting and in your face. Please like and share this video.
And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If ye love me, keep my commandments.